Welcome, fight fans, to episode 89 of the Hooks In MMA podcast. We're back this week with a great guest joining the show. He's fighting this weekend, UFC 278, undefeated heavyweight on the main card, Alexander Romanov. He's got a tough test in front of him with Marcin Tybura. They're going to be, like I said, on the main card there just before the Jose Aldo Merab Dvalishvili fight. So make sure to listen to his interview here, as well as cheering him on this Saturday night. Going to be looking back at the Dom Cruz Chito Vera fight from last weekend. Talk about our buddy Josh Hill and his Bellator performance last Friday, and then getting ahead of that book with easy lines, big pay-per-view, Usman Edwards 2. Really anticipated matchup here, rematch for the title, and obviously going to change the face of the welterweight division. So kicking things off, I'll pass it over to Zoni and we'll begin.
Yeah, so just we were going to talk to Romanov, in the kind of distant past, but his English wasn't up to par yet. So he had been working on that and finally said he had a few minutes for us. So great talking to him. He's 16-0, 15 finishes out of the 16. He's an unbelievable grappler, and he has finishing ability everywhere. So personally, not just because we talked to him, but really believe he's going to win on Saturday night. Tybura is amazing everywhere, but he does tend to rely on the wrestling when it's not going well on the feet. And Romanov is an absolute savage down there. So I think Romanov, it'd be hard to say it'd be a decision because heavyweight, you never know, but I actually think Romanov by decision because Tybura is that tough. So it's cool to talk to him, and he had some cool stuff to share.
Beautiful. So if we look back at last weekend, we had a fight night there on ESPN. Chito Vera, Hooks In alumni, shout out to him. He joined us right before that big upset win over Sugar Sean O'Malley. Obviously losing those first couple rounds to Dom Cruz. Cruz looked incredible, light on his feet, kind of zigzagging, doing all those feints, really throwing a lot of output. But obviously we did see in the early rounds Chito catch him with a couple heavy hands, knocked him down, I want to say twice, but was behind in the scorecard. And then, of course, fourth round came, and championship round, Dom's got crazy cardio, but just got caught and went to sleep. I think he broke his nose on the kick as well. And Chito, it was a walk-off highlight reel KO. And it sounds like he might be in that top 5 contention now, potentially looking at a number 1 contender fight here in the next few months. But would love to hear your feedback on that and what you think next for Chito.
Yeah, what a performance. I mean, yeah, Dom was ahead in the scorecards. That was a Dom fight for a while, but you can't count out the power. Like, the movement's amazing, the IQ's there for Cruz, but the power's not. And that was always the one thing that was going to kind of nullify Dom's chances, and he did get caught. Guy we talked to on here, coach at Extreme Couture, Eric Nixick, tweeted out earlier on in the fight, Dom keeps dipping his head to the right. He keeps dipping his head to his right when he's exiting. And that happened in the fourth. And he kind of called the Vera head kick as he dipped to his right. So that was pretty cool to read as well. Just shows kind of the fight IQ that he has. In terms of what's next, Vera, the number 1 contender for sure. If Dillashaw beats Sterling, that's a great fight. If Sterling beats Dillashaw, that's a great fight. He's earned it. He's been killing people, and I'd love to see him get a title shot.
Likewise, yeah. So we'll be keeping an eye on that, and hopefully, you know what, he can get back in the octagon here before the end of the calendar year, maybe looking ahead to that November card. We'll see, right? I don't think he was too injured. He did get touched up a little bit in the face, but I think just minor stuff. So hopefully, see him back in there because he's a hell of a exciting fighter and still in his 20s too, which is
insane.
And then, of course, Bellator was Friday night there, Bellator 284. Another Hooks In alum and friend of the pod, Josh of Gentleman Hill, tough decision loss with a late replacement, Marcos Brano. pretty back and forth fight. It looked like Breno definitely had that first round, and then the next two rounds kind of dictated the pace. And Hill just couldn't get inside and get those takedowns or at least land those power shots that he was looking for, other than a couple spinning attacks and in that first I guess it was like a spinning elbow in that first round that caught him flush. So what do you think's next for Hill, and what did you think of that fight on Friday night?
I thought it was a great overall exciting fight to watch, whether you're a fan of either. Um, yeah, Breno, I watched one of his fights before he fought Hill, and it was a mutual opponent who now just got signed to the UFC, Taylor Lapilus. Hill took him to a split decision, and he might have won one of the other rounds. It was very close. He might have been on the wrong side of that decision. And then Breno, when he fought him, just kept coming forward, really aggressive, and Lapilus dropped him a bunch of times. So it was cool to see like Lapilus being in the middle of those two fights, but just where these guys excelled and didn't excel against a mutual opponent. And yeah, Breno showed, how young, but how skilled he is and how he can put it together against obviously, one of the highest IQ Bellator fighters in Josh. And he just looked fantastic. He jumped into the rankings. I checked today. And he's number 10 now, and Hill's actually dropped out of the rankings. So for what's next for Hill, he always said he wanted to get to 30 fights. He's at 26 right now. So he's definitely got a couple of years left here before he decides to hang him up. They matched him up against Barzolas from the UFC before, and then that fight fell through. That was supposed to be a qualifier for the bantamweight tournament. And Barzola went on and fought, and he ended up losing. So I think rebooking that fight would be smart. Barzola, who's number 9, and then Hill, who's just dropped out of the top 10, can decide who's going to, be in that top 10 and hopefully, push towards a top 5 fight. The other guy is the guy that dropped out of Josh's last fight, and the reason why Breno joined this fight, Matus Matos. So those are my 2 picks for who Josh should fight next, and they're both big fights, and we'll get him back into the top 10 with a win.
Yeah, hopefully he can break through that bubble and get back ranked here and finish his career on a high note with hopefully one last championship run. And maybe on the other side of the spectrum, we saw another Niagara talent actually fight right after him on the main card to open things up. And again, another Hookson alum. He's been on twice with us, Aaron Jeffrey. Huge underdog win, first round finish if you didn't see it, minute 25 in, with a KO of the second ranked Austin Vanderford. Big thing, big win for Aaron, and yeah, would love to hear what you think's next for him and some potential matchups there in I guess that's the middleweight division.
Yeah, just quickly. So in terms of that fight, not taking anything away from Aaron, it was unbelievable. A huge win. So happy for him. He earned it. But the performance by Vanderford shocked me a little bit. I think he was a little bit broken mentally from getting absolutely obliterated by Musasi. And I think that played a factor into this fight. He took a 1-2 around the ear early on in that fight, and just kind of how he shriveled up a little bit and like looked vulnerable, showed me his head wasn't totally into this fight. And then the exact same combination was the one that eventually ended it. So I don't know what's going on. Paige Van Zandt, a lot of stuff's gone on with her, and she actually just got pulled from her bare knuckle fight. And they didn't tell her about it. She was ready. So there's probably going to be some kind of lawsuit there. But I think there's a lot of stuff upstairs maybe that Vanderford has to work on. In terms of Aaron Jeffrey, I think he gets Fabian Edwards next. I think he's within the top 5. And I was checking the kind of rankings today, and he seems like the best opposition for Aaron next.
Yeah, would love that. And obviously, nice little win streak he's got going here after losing to a tough opponent in Barajo in the Contender Series. I believe that was last summer. So yeah, he's reeled off 3 wins in a row, and sky's the limit for Aaron. Maybe being close with Josh Hill, he wanted to avenge Josh's loss, but not to mention Vanderford's nickname is the Gentleman. So maybe he wanted to show who the true gentleman was, and that's Josh
Yes,
Hill, not Austin Vanderford.
love
So
it.
yeah, keep an eye on that rising star in Bellator, and who knows, maybe he will make the crossover to UFC one of these days, because he's certainly on Dana White's radar. Um, but without further ado, we've got a huge UFC this weekend, UFC 278, Usman Edwards 2. We got to get ahead of that book, keep pressing forward, get those bankrolls up, and hope to meet you at the cashier at 2 a.m. At Zoni's place there, playing poker this weekend. So, not sure where you want to begin here, Zoni. Undercard to me, haven't done too much research. Definitely prepared to speak to the main card, but yeah, we can start at the top or start
Well,
early on.
we could start early on, but we don't have to go through them all. It could be just a
Sure.
fights
Pick
that
some
I
highlights
kind of.
from the prelims, and then we can
Yeah,
main card start to end.
the first one I'll touch on is Amir Albazi and Figgy's brother Francisco. That's going to be a banger of a fight. Albazi's really skilled everywhere. I think he's gonna finish Figgy. I'm not sure by submission or by TKO, but I'll go with submission. This guy's really good. He's going to be a top contender at flyweight, and with this win here, he should get a top 10 fight next. Yeah. How about you, Kronz? How do you
So
feel?
yeah, agreed. I do like Albazi. We're seeing plus 150 value for finish, whether it is KO or sub, and so I am going to jump on that as well. Um, for some reason, paying a little bit better than by decision. Maybe since it's a lighter weight class, they're thinking it goes the distance. But I think this kid has the skill to put him away and move that record to 15-1.
Yeah, the other one I'd say is Sean Woodson and Luis Saldana. Um, that's going to be another banger of a fight. I don't know what the betting line is for under 2.5 rounds, but that's where I'm going. I think someone gets finished. I think Woodson TKOs Saldana for sure. His hands are unbelievable, and this movement is so like subtle, kind of lulls you in and then just picks you apart.
Yeah, so we're seeing plus money on the under there, plus 120. Or if you'd rather just go fight to not go the distance, it's plus 100. So either one there, only 20 cents different. Seems like a good play. And then if you are inclined to go Woodson by finish, plus 162, which I do agree with. It's hard to believe Woodson's only 9-1 as a pro.
Yeah.
Feel like he's been around a lot longer, and I guess it's just he hasn't been as active maybe
Yep. That's exactly it.
as some of the other guys. But every time he comes out, he impresses me. He did have that one loss to Julian Erosa, and I think he just got caught in a choke there late in the fight in the third round. Otherwise, I mean, this guy's just he put away Terrence McKinney, right, on the Contender Series by finish, which you look back now, McKinney's,
He's
you
on a
know,
roll.
exactly. So that's the skill that Woodson has, and I think that sniper name is well deserved. So I'm going to be rolling with them also.
My absolute lock of the night is Jared Gordon, sorry, by finish over Leandro Santos. Santos is like 42 or 43 years old. His chin is nowhere near what it used to be. It's a time that he needs to step away at this age, at that weight class. And that's my lock of the night. Gordon is kind of used to his success wrestling, but I think where he's going to crush him is standing up this weekend. You don't really want to go on the ground with Santos, so
Yeah.
that's my lock.
Yeah, good pick. It's funny, right? They both have losses to Grant Dawson. You know, Gordon's coming off that, and then 2 fights ago, Santos lost to him as well. But I would agree. I think the 9-year age difference is going to come into play. Looking at height, reach, Santos will have that advantage, but I think he doesn't have the chin like he once did, and expect a finish here by Gordon. What I'm seeing here is plus 200 for finish or plus 125 by decision.
That's massive. I think he's going to put Santos to a sleep.
Yeah. So for 3-1 odds there, I think that's a great value play, and could be a nice favorite to cash in or to throw in a parlay. Um, cool. So
Yeah, main card.
yeah, so main card starts off here with kind of a, I don't know if it's an underrated fight or just more of a prospect fight, right? Two heavyweights that, just are early in their careers combined, don't even have 25 fights, adding them up. Tyson Pedro versus Harry Hunsucker. We've talked about Hunsucker a few times because he's been involved with some, yeah, decent matchups, right? Tai Tuivasa, Justin Taffa in the past, but who are you thinking on this one?
Yeah, probably my second lock will be Pedro by finish. You're right on the prospect part. This is a guy the UFC likes, is Pedro, and they're trying to build him up a little bit here. Hunsucker with a loss here is going to get cut, so they know he has to come forward. It's at heavyweight. My lock is that it's definitely a finish. I don't even think it'll get out of the first round, let alone the first minute. So they're putting it on to kick the pay-per-view off on the right foot, a big knockout, and set the tone for the night. And that's exactly what's going to happen.
Just to confirm too, Hunsucker's coming down to light heavyweight,
Yep.
205 for this, right? Okay.
Yep.
So that is a big difference, right? He's been up heavyweight fighting Vandera, Tuivasa, Tafa. So coming down, I think he'll be the slower fighter, and I think Pedro will use that speed and knockout power to get the finish.
Yeah.
Looking at the odds, not much money line, guys. Pedro's minus 800, and then finish is minus 450.
Yeah.
Terrible, terrible odds.
So what about first round finish?
It's not even good. It's minus 225. I
Oh
would
wow.
take that for round betting. Where I do see value is maybe Hunsucker gets in the clinch, gets out of the first round, and then Pedro finishes second round. That's plus 550. That's a massive, massive difference from minus 225. If anything, that's where I'm throwing my money down because all other logical bets here, the unders, the money lines, it pays nothing. And
Yeah.
it's not worth the risk because Hunsucker could just get a lucky uppercut or a lucky knee and finish it. So it's not even worth risking unless you go that second round or even third round is plus 3,300, which is kind of crazy too.
Yeah.
Um,
Crons, do you have a betting line for 0.25 of the first minute?
if I
20.
had to say, it would be like plus 100, like even odds.
Yeah, not even that good.
Yeah, not even
But
that good
I
because it's
think
so
that
likely.
happens.
Like
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
so likely.
yeah,
That's the unfortunate part now. Unless they come out with some of those by method and by round,
yeah.
maybe closer because those props aren't out yet. Potentially value, but in terms of what's available on Bet365 today, I'm not really advising much other than the second or third round finish.
Yeah.
So that leads us into another heavyweight fight, couple big boys, and our guest this week, Alexander Romanov, facing off against the Pole Marcin Tybura. Romanov, obviously, Matt said earlier, is undefeated. He is the favorite, minus 400 money line, but the decision that Matt called out earlier is plus 300, 4-1 odds. Really, really like that bet, especially seeing Tybura in his ability to take it to the ground. Maybe it's just dirty boxing, kind of, letting the clock dwindle down. I could see this going to points, and I could see Romanov winning, 30-27 unanimous. How about you?
I couldn't have said it better myself. Exact same as what you said.
Yeah, I think, you know what? It's a pay-per-view. It's a main card. They are going to be a little bit slow out of the gates, I think.
And
They're going to
Tiber is good. Like
Yes, and that's a test, right? For Romanov, you look at
yes.
his past opponents, it's not the upper echelon. So this could be one where he's just a more patient fighter and yeah, is winning on technical points versus crazy aggression.
I
Um,
agree. I couldn't agree more.
this is a far cry from look at his last two, Chase Sherman, Jared Vandera. I mean, this is going to be a big step up in competition.
So he fought Juan Espino, and
Yes.
that
Split.
was a close fight. And Tibura fights similar to him, but Tibura has better hands,
Right.
and he's got a bit more weight behind him. But it's like kind of a similar fight to that. So he, that was a tight fight. This will be a tight fight, I think.
Yep, yep. I could definitely see this going to the judges' scorecards, and I still think Romanov gets the W and the hand raise, but that's a great value. It's because they are heavier, right? And generally speaking, these fights finish within the distance, but just because it's a competitive, more technical matchup, I'm liking that value at +3.
And you should see Romanov now too. I don't know what this means in terms of what we're saying, but like he looked real slim down, and I saw an article that he's lost like that baby fat because he definitely like he's a big dude, so he's trimmed down, which means his cardio is probably better. So it means he'll probably try and drag it out and test that as well. So I don't know. I like the decision. I like the value.
Okay, and look back on Tiberia's, what is this, one, two, three, four, five, last 6 fights. Four of them have gone decision, right?
Yep. For
He,
heavyweight, that's
yeah,
crazy.
he finished both Hardy and Harris, but if you look at more competitively, Volkov, Grecian, Spivak, they all went decision. So I'm
Yep.
liking that the more I
Yep.
look at it. Cool. So this leads us into personally the fight I'm most excited for, Jose Aldo versus Merab Davasheli. Merab's got, as we all know, one of the craziest outputs and engines, not just in his weight class, but perhaps the UFC. Crazy stat I saw today. Aldo is the only ex-champion from 2011 who's still in the top 3 today in his division. That's crazy. That's 11 years ago, and he's still
Yep.
around. He's still relevant, and he still potentially could get that title shot with a big win.
Yep.
Um, Tight fight. Not really sure where to go. I was thinking Merab, but Jose Aldo's tough to overlook. What say you?
I honestly don't have an official pick yet, man. I'm so in between. I'm kind of with you. It's a great fight. It could go any which way. I have no idea. Um, yeah, I don't have a pick yet for it.
So even the odds say that too, right? It's a pick 'em fight. All those got +100, which really is just juice at this point, 10 cents. What I do kind of like, and it's only for really value, is there's a boost on 365, although by decision, +250. Normally it's +200, 3-1 odds, and you're getting extra 50 cents.
Hmm.
Not bad.
I can see that.
3.5 to 1 is realistic. Both these guys, can go all 5 rounds, but this one too, it's only a 3 rounder. So that seems to me even more probable. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Um, the only skeptical thing of is Aldo's chin. It has been obviously diminished as he's grown older, but I don't know if he keeps that range and just maybe does his kicks like he used to do earlier in his career. This could be a competitive fight that he wins on points. Could be that close 28, 29, 28 type, even a Splittersons.
Yep.
So, yeah, you're right. Really tough one to call, but regardless of that, potentially could be fight of the night, and one I'm certainly the most excited
I'm
for on this entire card.
I agree, and I'm intrigued by that boost as well. So I'm going to consider that.
Yeah, yeah, I like that value, getting the extra 50. And then, of course, looking ahead, we've got our main event of the evening. Or, sorry, no, there is one more. Paulo Costa, Luke Rockhold. This one, not a fan of, should be down, opening the main card, in my opinion. Don't like either fighter, so I don't even care about it. But what do you think?
Yeah, I really don't like either fighter either. They're like on the bottom of my list, especially Costa. And yeah, I wouldn't expect it to be co-main with Rockhold
Right?
just absolutely blasting the UFC the last week. He's said so many things. I've seen so many interviews, and he's fucking
He
he
hasn't
he
won
doesn't
since
care.
2017. It's been five
Yeah,
years, and even the guy he beat, David Branch, what the fuck? Who is
yeah.
that? Like,
It's yeah,
terrible.
it's probably because it's going to be a pretty good fight and someone's going to sleep. And I hope I hope somebody murders them each other, like because I don't like either of
Hope
them.
they both get knocked out at the
Yeah,
same.
double knockout.
Yeah.
Sign us up. But Rockhold has probably some of the best skill, but it's not about the skill. He doesn't put it together, and his chin is fucking glass. So I don't know. I'll probably go with Costa by finish.
Yeah, it just doesn't pay well. It's minus 188. What I do kind of like, perhaps, is the boost. It's Costa to win in round one, finish plus 250, normally plus 210. So you're getting 40 cents, but
That could happen.
could happen. The other boost is Rockhold by finish. Not going to happen. I don't think, at
It
least.
might.
Well,
What's
seven.
what's the boost? What's the boost?
It's you get $1, so it's normally plus 550, boosted to plus 650, so 7.5 to 1 decimal.
Couple units.
Couple units, I guess. I can't cheer for the guy. I hate him,
Yeah, I know. I hate him too.
but I can't cheer for Costa either. I hate him too. So,
Yeah,
um,
double knockout.
yeah, I might just go outside and I don't know, hang out, watch the stars while this one goes on. But um, anyways, let's move ahead to that final fight. Usman Edwards too. These guys, they've been chirping for a while. They obviously fought earlier in their career when they both, I don't think they were even ranked at the time, if I'm not mistaken. I want to go back and actually see when that was. It's way down there. This was in 2015, 7 years ago. Um, they were only 6-1 and 10-2, respectively. So they were just babies. Looks like this was Usman's first real fight in the UFC other than Ultimate Fighter.
Yeah,
Um, or sorry, no, that yeah, for Usman. And then let's see on the Edwards side where he was in his career. Want to say that was one of his first fights too.
yeah.
Um, I can't even see it. It's so long ago. Oh, there it is. Yeah, like his fourth fight in the UFC. Okay, so he's been there a bit longer, but yeah, they were both kind of unknowns. I don't remember that happening. It was on Fox, not even ESPN. So you fast forward, right? Edwards hasn't lost. This guy's been on a fucking tear.
They
Same thing with
both they
Usman.
both won 10 in a row.
Yeah,
They're that was a stat I saw too.
yeah. So I love that. I love seeing guys, kind of like we saw with
Earn it. Like,
Luque and Bilal. They, were different fighters back then. When Luque won, next time around, Bilal kicked his ass and showed him up. So that I guess is proof that Edwards, you can't overlook the guy, right? He's a big dog here for a championship fight, 5 rounder, plus 280 on Tapology. I'm not sure what it is, bet 365 plus 300. So 4-1 for a championship fight. Not bad, but Usman legit has looked unbeatable. So what are you thinking here?
I'm going Edwards. Yeah, they both done amazing stuff. Um, I think Edwards is the real deal. Usman, he's gotten some more injuries the last couple of years. He's not real young anymore either. This is like he's a lot of wear and tear in these title fights. Um, he's unbelievable. I can't deny that. But it's a time, and it's not like it's a guy coming off a 1 or 2 fight win streak. This guy's fucking the real deal. He's fought him. He knows where he lost. He's grown since then, and I'll take that value all day. And I'm not just saying this. I actually think he's going to win. Like
Method?
I, I get a weird feeling about a finish. I think he might finish him with strikes, like not a one punch knockout, but just unanswered strikes. That's my method. And if I don't know what the betting line is, but like a third or fourth round uh, finish for Edwards. What's that betting line?
So plus 500 to finish anytime, plus 3,300 for both 4 and 5.
I think I would go fourth round finish just to put a few units on.
There you go. That's 34-1 odds. Huge, huge odds there. There's actually a crazy boost here that I'm seeing. It's a crossover boxing, UFC, Anthony Joshua and Leon Edwards both to win. Plus 1,091.
What?
Yep.
I'm
Just
hopping
like
on that train
because Joshua is the slight underdog,
for
right?
against Usyk.
Yeah, he's plus 160, I want to say. So, almost coin flip. Edwards is certainly the dog in the parlay there, but both of them, that's 11 to that's almost 12-1 odds there.
It
I
sounds like
think
a fun Saturday night to me.
the real probability has to be less. It has to be closer to 8 to 9 to 1. So yeah, you're getting $3 or $4 just value there alone.
Well put.
Really like that.
Oh,
The other
yeah.
boost, not too intrigued by. It's, Usman round betting or Edwards to win in round one for plus 1800. Doesn't seem realistic. These guys are going to be, I think, finding their range the first round, maybe 2 rounds. And then I think you're right. They might start banging round three, round four. Um, so yeah, I would love to go see Edwards win, change things up, and yeah, I might sprinkle on him. There's good value there. So
The only thing I didn't love reading today was if Edwards did win, that he wants to fight Masvidal back in London, where fucking they had that little altercation. Like, I don't want
that's
to see
just money.
Masvidal again.
That's
Yeah,
just money at this point. So
it is, but I don't want to see that. Like,
no,
they're shading away these like unbelievable guys like Shavkat and Chimaev and Brady, and like, let these guys come. Like, you're gonna have to fight them. Next up on the Hooks In MMA podcast, we're lucky to have on 16-0 heavyweight. He's got a massive fight coming up on August 20th next weekend on the main card of UFC 278. Alexander King Kong Romanov. How's it going, man?
Hi, Matthew. I'm fine. I'm ready. I'm now in Salt Lake, and I wait on the Saturday.
Awesome. Yeah, we obviously been following you since you started in the UFC, but even a few fights before that. So just give a few people an idea of what is the reason why you got into mixed martial arts.
In 2016, I want to finish my pro career. I was a professional wrestler, um, and my very good friend has opened a new gym in my town. Um, I started to practice MMA, and I like this. Um, After that, I will have make my debut on amateur national championship. I have win this, and I understand that I can make some money in this business. After that, I have make a couple fights in our local uh, Liga Eagles Fighting Championship in the Republic of Moldova, where I have some tough guys from Ukraine, from Georgia, from Uzbekistan, from Brazil, and in 2019 I have signed contract with the UFC.
Yeah, and it's been obviously, a perfect ride so far in your professional career, and you're 5-0 in the UFC so far. And I think you fought a variety of fighters so far, but I think Tybura is probably one of the most well-rounded fighters that you're going to fight. So, just how do you feel about him as an opponent, and how you stack up against him?
Tibura is really a very dangerous fighter and very tough fighter because he have very good striking and a very good grappling. But I have prepared. I have worked a lot on his skills, on his powerful sides. But we have find some mistakes in his game plan. And I think that this Saturday will be very hot in the octagon.
Absolutely. So, just outside of fighting, what are some kind of like fun things that you like to do to get your mind off of training and your job?
What?
Just like when you're not fighting or training, what are some things you like to do outside of, your everyday work job? What are some fun things you like to do?
I when I stayed at home in my town, I work like coach on wrestling. I work with the little kids, and I like my job very much because that's very good and very interesting moments when you can see how these little guys become an big and strong man.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, and then the last thing, just what does it mean to you to be on a main card of a pay-per-view event such as this next weekend, and how do you think that can kind of expand your UFC limelight, I guess, with fans?
Yes, I think that this will be my first fight in the UFC with a big public, with a big fan, and you know, this for me, this is a big possibility to show that who I am, and to show that I am ready to fight in top 10.
Yeah, which I believe, and many people believe you are. You just got to go in there and get it done. Yeah, 16-0, looking to make it 17-0. Can't wait to watch you next Saturday, August 20th, on pay-per-view. Alexander Romanov, this is Hooks in MMA. Thanks so much, bro.
Thank you, Matthew.